restaurant, Scopa Italian Roots in Venice. You guys at home have ordered my empanada kit. The empanadas come from our restaurant, downtown Los Angeles, DAMA, so I hope you enjoy. Let's go over a couple of housekeeping tips before we start making the empanadas. You should have your pre-made empanadas ready to go, and those can be fried at any time. And then you should have your piri vinegar, which is just an incredible hot vinegar dipping sauce for your empanadas. You ought to have a fryer set at 350 degrees, ready to fry. I like a tabletop fryer, an electric fryer that you can purchase online. Of course, you can have a Dutch oven or a pot that has an oil thermometer inside that is ranging at 350. Remember, once you put those empanadas, those cold empanadas, into a fryer, the temperature will go down. So you do need to regulate the turn knob on your stove to really make sure that it stays at 350 to fry. Okay, let's start. In your little box, you should have the ground picadillo, which is basically a mixture of meat and potatoes and some smoked paprika and some herbs, and of course your empanada dough. So what you're going to do is just kind of peel the dough, and you want to keep this nice and cold just before you're about to build the empanada. So the dough should stay nice and cold, and you just pull it off that parchment paper onto a flat, dry surface. I have a cutting board here. It's clean, it's flat, and it's dry. So you just take that onto the board. I have a spoon to just sort of scoop some of that meat right into the center of the dough. I've got some water here, and the water is going to act like glue, and what I do is I just put water all around, so that way when I fold over, and I want to make sure this hand is dry afterwards, you're going to just fold it over like a little dumpling, okay? And then very easily just close it, and then you're going to take a fork and then just pinch very gently around the sides. You don't want to press too hard because you don't want the empanada to stick to your board, so just enough to really seal it and close it, and that water is going to act as a little, the water is going to act like a little glue, okay? And then if you see anything open, you can just kind of take your hand, just like that, and pinch the sides. And continue that with all of the rolled empanada dough, just by scooping the meat in the center, dabbing it with a little bit of water, aka glue, and then pinching it with your fork and your fingers. And then you're going to take them and drop them into the fryer very gently, and let them fry until they're a beautiful golden brown. Now the empanadas in the fryer do tend to float a bit, so if you need to take tongs or some forks and just kind of turn them over to make sure that they get brown, like golden brown on all sides, go ahead and do that, because they will float to the top. So you just want to make sure that they're moving around inside the fryer, and so that they're coated all the way with oil, so that all parts of that beautiful dough are getting nice and crispy. Okay? And then to serve, what I like to do is pour just a little bit of that piri vinegar. Now you want to make sure when you have it in the jar that you kind of just shake it up. So if I have it here, just do like a little stir. Pour that. And then that would be your dipping sauce for the empanadas. I always tell people too, when cooking the empanadas, they come right out of the fryer, our first reaction is to grab them and want to bite right into them, but they're going to be extremely hot. That center on the inside, that picadillo on the inside, really gets piping hot. So you want to just let them chill out for a second, let them get nice and cool, and then you can dip them. And I think the best way to eat them is you kind of break them in half, take a little bit of that vinegar, pour it into the center, and then just kind of eat it that way. It should be about 1 or 2 bites. So just letting those fry. The beautiful things about these empanadas, it's an Argentinian style empanada, so the dough gets those kind of beautiful crispy air pocket bubbles, and that's from vinegar being inside of the dough, which is a great sort of trick to get that beautiful little bubbles that create sort of pockets for the oil of the meat, as well as that vinegar. Another little trick, if you're into it, this piri vinegar is highly acidic, so super strong, high acid, a great amount of heat. Piri peppers are actually a South African pepper, which are just like so beautifully spicy, but yet super vibrant. If If you mix that with a little bit of mayonnaise, if you want a creamier sauce, it's a great alternative to kind of mellow out the heat, but also add sort of a creamy texture. So if you want to add a little bit of your own mayo at home to the piri-piri vinegar, it makes a great creamy, spicy vinegar sauce. So those empanadas fry anywhere between 6 to 8 minutes, depending on your fryer and how much they fry, just so that you get that nice golden brown. But what we're really looking for is a perfect golden brown and that center to really be warmed all the way through. And that takes about 6 to 8 minutes. That said too, the empanadas that are coming to you are frozen. So you can pull them out of your freezer, let them get room temperature, let them sit out for about 15 minutes before you put them in the fryer, and that will help the cooking process as well. Okay, so when you pull the empanadas out of the fryer, you want to either do with tongs or forks. So don't pull them out hot. Pull them out with fingers. You can burn your little fingers. Okay. Now these go right onto your plate. There you have it. Your empanadas that are already done for you, and then some that you can play with yourself. Empanadas with a beautiful vinegar of piri-piri hot pepper.